Hello, welcome to Dear Arnel Week 4. It's a video blog of the experiences that I've had working with clients last week or the weeks before. And basically, question number one, people ask me, what's the purpose of this weekly vlog, Arnel? Well, letting people know about me and what's new. So I don't know if people know this, but if you go to my LinkedIn profile, I graduated a Bachelor's in Science in Nursing, a BSN from nursing from Old Dominion. It took me 10 years to graduate college. That was a whole experience. I was in Desert Storm as a corpsman with an Amtrak unit out of Shore Drive that got called to Desert Storm. Did about 9 months there. And that kind of pushed me back a little bit in schooling. And then I had to retake another year. And then I believe I failed pediatrics one semester, and I was supposed to take it in the summer. I was like, I just can't do it in the summer. So I waited another year. So it took me about 10 years to graduate. I did nursing for a couple years, a bachelor's in science and nursing. And so that makes me uniquely different in coaching from a nursing perspective. You're supposed to look at the chart, the numbers, the labs, the history. The only difference that you have is you have to meet the client or meet the patient where it's at and find out and ask great questions, a lot of questions about what's really going on with them. So, we used to tell the doctors you can't give them the stuff you need to give them if we can't figure out what's important to them. And a lot of times what's important to them is just listening and figure out what do they need first before we can look at the overall perspective of trying to treat all the symptoms. And I'm always looking at, okay, what do you need to move the next step forward? And as a nurse, the best nurses I know are very good in listening, asking questions, and you can feel from their conversation or their energy that they do care. And that what makes me uniquely different, because I graduated. They say nursing degrees are one of the hardest degrees to graduate. A lot of information in the class, a lot of practical knowledge in the field. You have to pass the NCLEX exam. I did that. It took me 3 times to pass, but I passed. And it's true. And I tell people that you got to really know how to study to take tests. That's the secret of that. Even if you study, there's a way to take tests. It's very good to spend the money on how to take tests. But the reason I say that is, as a nurse, I'm bringing a uniquely perspective to conversations I have with clients or potential clients. Because I look at when I meet with somebody, I look at, I've learned through Matt's business coaching, you look at the whole business model, accountability, the organizational chart, lead generation chart, the financial management. You look at all the areas of the business, the org chart, all those areas. And that's the model you look at. And that gives you an idea where the business owner is with those areas. And do they have a plan? Did they breaking it down to a one-page plan? Do they have what we call 401? Look at that. And then I usually have a bunch of assessment tests on the person, their personality, their strengths and weaknesses, how well they do in the role, how they learn, sometimes their Myers-Briggs, their DISC. I usually do some positive intelligence tests and how they handle habits. And the reason is, as a nurse, you're looking at, we used to do the holistic point of view. You're looking at not only the problem, the health issue, you look at the person. So when I coach, I look at the person and I look at the business model and I look at the challenge. Where is it, where is it the individual? Is it the strategy? Is it the mindset? Is it the story that they tell themselves? And our goal and objective is to really help them, figure out how they become the best of them so they can do what they want to do in their life, personally, professionally. And as a nurse, I have a unique perspective because a lot of times I'm just asking questions, listening to them. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Let's get this data in there. Let's look at it. Let's look at it together. It's an amazing ride. I call it a ride because it's a journey when you work with people. Because every year, if you're a great coach, they're getting better and better at accomplishing the goals. They're becoming more self-aware. They're building routines and habits. and they just look at their life, and they go, wow, I've accomplished many things. That's the beauty of coaching people, because you're coaching them to become the best they can, the best version of them, to accomplish what they want to accomplish in the year. And as a nurse, that gives us a unique perspective, because we look at the holistic point of view of the person, not only the business, but the person, the business, how they're in alignment, or are they not in alignment, and what's the disconnect. The other thing I do about this weekly video is I always want to share tips and resources and connections and recommendations to help business owners succeed in the business life. Over my 25 plus years, it's amazing. People are like, how would you know all that stuff, Arnel? Well, when you're a person just learns by listening, asking questions, and paying attention. And I realized I was listening and looking at patterns. One of the things I'm very good at is looking at patterns. I can identify the pattern, look at the pattern, and go, I don't think that's the right pattern you want to do. So I can recognize patterns. And then the final thing, what I want to do is I want to be that go-to guy. I want to be that guy. If you say, hey, business networking, business referrals, relationships, growing, scaling, existing business, overcoming imposter syndrome for founders, how to grow family-owned business, people are like, man, you do a lot. I said, yeah, it seemed like, but I don't do it alone. Like, for example, if I bring a client who needs exit planning, it's really something we're going to really work on. I want to bring an exit planner in there. I'm going to bring another Stifa in there, because I enjoy growing I enjoy coaching and training and working with the owner, the CEO, the CFO, or the person transitioning to a C-suite. I enjoy that. And then I'll bring in the other experts, because I don't need to know everything. I just need to know who's the best person at that moment of time they need help. Who's the best resource that I can connect them with that would benefit them. So people go, well, how do you do all this? No, I'm more of a connector. One of the things I'm very good at is business networking, business referrals, because I've done that myself. Grow and scaling. I'm working with clients right now to grow and scale existing businesses. Overcoming imposter syndrome. I'm going through that through positive intelligence. If I feel that I can't deliver at a high level, I recommend another coach in that. Because the bottom line for me is always looking at what my ability to deliver. And if I cannot deliver at the high level, then I'm going to bring somebody else in, so the clients keep moving forward. And I also tell clients at some point too, if you're not moving forward, if you're not achieving your goals, you're not getting better and better each year professionally, personally, I'm going to fire myself. That's my guarantee. I will fire myself if you're not moving forward. There's no reason to pay money just to be in a situation where you like the person and make you feel good. It's got to be a mutual alignment, a mutual beneficial alignment where you're growing, I'm growing. My best clients I work with are constantly moving and growing, and they grow. They get me excited, and then I get excited because I'm growing. And so it's a mutual beneficial. But if I know and believe and see your progress over the next couple months, not going and say, hey, what's really going on? Are you willing? What's your why? If something's changed, I say, hey, but this might not be the right fit, or I may not be the right coach. I'll pass on somebody else, or I'll go, hey, you know what? Then maybe let's take a break a little bit and see if there's something you're worthwhile you want to do. And if it isn't, then that's fine. We're still friends. But their business has to grow. Their business has to grow. Their personal development, who they as a person, and the roles they are in, have to grow. And that's the only way that I think coaching will work, if they're growing in their roles as much as I'm growing in my own roles. So, the question is, I'm working some of clients, a lot of clients recently, and there's an issue about, I believe some owners are being held by their mindset. So I'm going to pull up a summary by Carol Dweck. She's got a Dr. Carol Dweck. She has two types of mindset. She has what we call the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Fixed mindset is intelligence is static, right? Intelligence is static. And you got growth mindset is that intelligence can be developed. And if you look at the fixed mindset, they lead the desire to look smart, and the challenges, they avoid challenges, obstacles, efforts, and criticism, right? And then there's sources of others are success. And I had that when I first started. I had fixed mindset. I didn't know what I did. I think I was just talking a bunch of BS. So I had a lot of fixed mind. And being Filipino American Filipino, and shaming is verbal shame is part of our culture. A lot of my parents, this was their norm. You wouldn't get negative feedback. You had to follow orders. I say orders. Effort was like either you do it right or you're stupid, and then give up early. I mean, shoot. I mean, my thing was I didn't want to give up. I just kept practicing. Avoiding challenges, I know that, and then they tell you to switch over to growth mindset. And growth mindset is intelligence can be developed. That means you have the desire to learn and through tendency. You embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, set effort as the path to mastery, learn from criticism, and then you find lessons in others. So, and as a result, you reach higher level of achievement. And it's interesting when I realized this when I first started, I understood the fixed mindset. There's a limited beliefs that you can change that over time. And the growth mindset, okay, you got to look at these things. Okay. But what I realized, in me, you see this right here, there's a gap. And I realized it's not that it's not that you can't have growth mindset. Does not mean that you don't know what your fixed mindset is. There's a gap because what I've noticed in the last couple of years, people are getting a lot of information because there's so many things going on that's changing. So it's not that people don't want to have growth mindset. It doesn't mean they can recognize their fix. But what happens is when information's coming to you brutally fast, then how do you process it? So what I realized in the last year, that's even for me, I mean, I know how to work hard. That's not the issue. I know how to work hard. I know about embracing challenges, persistent setbacks. But what I realized was new information, repetitive patterns. I could not figure out how to work through that. So somebody recommended me at a conference about 2 years ago a book called Positive Intelligence, and I pull up right here. And what's interesting, when you're getting the information coming at you right now, you have two regions of the brains that's either thrive and survive. And it's interesting. What I realize is that when you're getting new information, you're either going to, especially if it's new information, you're going to either decide to survive, so take that information and it's going to trigger some type of negative. You're going to try to survive, or you're already living in that mindset, or you're thriving. And so what I find out in the last couple of years, especially with COVID, especially after COVID, a lot of people's ability to choose was taken away. A lot of information coming to them was so overly exhausting that they could not process the information. And if you're already in survival mode before COVID, COVID made it even worse. So anything coming in really just went to survive. So remember we talked about Carol Dweck, all the fixed mindset, all that fixed mindset stuff that you had, man, it just in the last couple of years, it just got worse. Because what happens when information comes to you, it's going to either come to you either you're going to put it in survive and thrive mode. And so what happens is, if you look at this, the survive region is that those inner saboteurs in your mind that creates negative emotion. So if you're traumatized in the past, that fixed mindset, that stuff will just that thing will just trigger more negativity. It produces stress, self-doubt, anger, shame, and frustration. The negative emotions are only helpful for a second. So here's the thing about the saboteurs that I've learned. They're great early warning systems, but if you're not careful, you'll stay in your emotions and you won't be able to see any possibility. You won't be able to see the grow mindset. You won't be able to see that. And so what happens is, I think over the last couple of years, most people have been living in survival mode and they haven't got out of it. They haven't got back, and so they are literally struggling because whatever information they have, it's creating anxiety, stress, frustration, depression, that. So even if they know fixed mindset and growth mindset, they can't even go there because they're still trying to figure out, how do I process this? And then if you're in what they call the inner save, this is the part of the brain. It's the empathy. This is the part of the brain, creativity, clear-headed, laser focus. This is where you understand the big picture of the whole process and you're able to either accept or convert. And this is a mindset, positive. It's called, like, this is the negative mindset. This is the positive mindset. This is where most people can't even get to the grow mindset because they're still trying to figure out how to process information. And if they don't learn how to process it positively, it goes automatically to negative. And I see that a lot because I have clients right now read the book Positive Intelligence, working on. So it talks about, and when you look at this right here, and this is Positive Intelligence Science, you know, if you look at here, it's interesting how the neurons are either going to be positive, negative. And so remember those fixed mindset, those beliefs, as I'm just basing on what I know from my experience, is that you your whatever you have created up to this point, if a trauma or some type of negative, it's in your brain, it's in your neuron, it's basically wrapped like that. It's a neural pathway. The whole idea is can you rewrite that? And based on positive intelligence and their science, you can, because you're shifting the balance power from the negative to the positive. And I can tell you from my experience, like I used to have, my brain used to be constantly turning, the thoughts turning. And even my wife and friends said, Arnel, your eyes are looking up, like, because I'm processing all this information. I was not always present. I was just trying to process. And if somebody calls it monkey brain, the brain, you're just like, oh, because you're literally trying to process, is it going to be positive or negative? And if you don't know how to process the positive, I guarantee you it's going to trigger right into negative emotion. And if you have any type of past trauma or those neurons are wrapped into negativity, you're going to stay in survival mode, and it's going to be pretty brutal. I mean, I have clients who have a goal of 25% increase every year without borrowing money. And one of the things we talk about is how to have positive mindset, how to have it throughout the day so they can do their important work, which is grow the company, be true to themselves in the role, from like father, husband, CEO, uh, you know, the director of operations, and transition. I mean, it's very hard when you literally have been, especially the last couple of years, been living in negativity, when we need to grow our positive, I call our positive neurons. So what they have created in the in positive intelligence is you create the saboteur interceptor muscle, the self command, and the sage muscle. So what basically has is you're able to intercept any negativity. You already know it, right? And then the self command is basically commanding your muscle, commanding your mind, and saying, okay, I'm not going to let my brain be hijacked. And then you're able to create the sage powers, which allow you to create that creativity. So, and the reason I share this with people is because, I find out where most people struggle is like, when I first heard about positive intelligence, I took this test called the positive intelligence quotient, or positive quotient for short. And it talked to me about positive versus negative. My when I first took this test, my positive was only like 50%, and the rest was 50. But since I've been taking positive intelligence in the master program, my positive mindset is 98% and 2% survival. So I'm constantly in, I call it positive mindset all the time. But when I first started, I didn't realize that. I realized there was something going on with my mindset. I could not figure out how to make it positive. And then once I figured out how to make it positive, it was a game changer. So I take this test once a year, and I look at where I'm at, and I'm being positive. Because if you look at it this way, you got information coming to you. If you can make it positive versus negative, then you can take that growth mindset and explode. If you have this information come to you and you're not making it positive, right? Or we call it accept or convert to a gift and opportunity, then it stays negative, right? It stays in that negative environment, that survival brain. And if it triggers any type of past trauma, you literally just live in that. And what it does, it affects all the people close to you, your spouse, your significant others, your key leaders. They just see a different person on you, because when we're getting all this information and we're getting all these requirements, all these things, and I'll give you an example. Like I had a client who basically got an email saying their commercial or their home insurance was being canceled because their roof was bad. They need a new roof. They're having issues with solar. The daughter got sick at school. They called. Um, she didn't realize the bill for something was cost this and that. So all these factors, boom, 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 like 5 or 6 in a row. And she got sick too, like the next 2 days. I mean, all of them in the last 40 hours, just bam, 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 just hit her all at once, right? In the past, she would just literally shut down. She would just literally just cry or didn't know how to recover or didn't know. So she literally shut down. Now, since we've been coaching and understanding, the information and looking at it and using positive intelligence, we've been able to help her manage those sources, and she's been able to recover fast enough so that she doesn't stay in survival brain, right? Survival environment. She's able to start working through the Thrive brain, and really creating solutions and saying. So one of the things I heard by the gentleman who created Positive and Sherzad Shermaine, he said that the key in high performers are recovery. And, we understand fix, we understand growth. We get information coming to how quickly are we able to recover when we know it's something we can't control, but it feels negative. But when you are in positive mindset, you can't control it. You can accept it or convert it to a gift opportunity, and you take action. So, what I usually tell when I coach people, I usually have them, let's take this. Let me have you take this measure your mental fitness, which is the PQ score, right? And then we go right into describe your saboteurs. Now, the cool thing about this tells you, and I like this tells you really the 10 voices that are designed. You have the master voice, the judge. The judge is you. Other circumstances that say you did bad, you did this, and then it has all these accomplished saboteurs. And these accomplished saboteurs are the inner voices that create that negative environment. Like, for example, when I first took this test about a year ago, I realized that for me, mine was hyperachiever, controller, and avoider. These top three. So when I would get stressed out, I would do more, keep doing more, keep doing more. And then I try to control it by making sure the situations work for me. And a lot of times when you're working with people, it doesn't. And then when it didn't work out, I just forget I ain't gonna do it for it. Now, my clients didn't know this. They're like, hey, Arnel's a great this, but anything new. I mean, so how you have those peaks and valleys? My valleys would be long till I recovered. But now I am in a better headspace. I don't have that monkey brain, and I don't have that twirling of thoughts in my head. So I'm going to go back to here. What I'm going to encourage you guys to do, if the mindset you really want to do is fix and growth is great. You want to be in growth mindset. Before you can get in growth mindset, I really believe you got to stay in positive mindset. You got to learn what that means and what's a skill. And once you do that, I truly believe, let me go back to here. I truly believe doesn't matter where you're at, what challenge you have, this and that, you're able to process it quickly with the help of people around you. You're able to recover fast. And then what's even better, if you're getting a bunch of, information, like 6 or 7 things that are very negative, but you have no control, normally during COVID and after COVID, people can't manage that well. And when you take the positive intelligence test, the saboteurs, and the positive intelligence, the PQ quotient, it'll tell you how you manage. Like I had somebody recently who she took the test. She was 98% in her negative mindset. 98%. Her mind is constantly racing negatively. She was shy. She knew it. I don't think her husband knew it, but she knew it. So we're talking about working through that. And she works with the business and with the husband. So it'll be very interesting. So how this helps you, that I truly believe with the mindset, is that if you know that you're going to grow your business and growth mindset, and you understand that what we talked about here, right? We talked about growth mindset. But before growth mindset, you're going to get information that is designed to decide if it's positive or negative. What you really want to do is make sure that you learn the mindset of how to basically process the information, right? And not be in your head, and then process it to accept it and still be at peace, or convert it to a gift and opportunity. and then learn the voices and learn constantly what they say, staying sage, which is I call it the positive mindset, or the portion of who we are. We're feeling the love of who we are, the person, and this and that. And then that's the best of us. The negative mindset starts out as an early warning, but it can be a fear, and sometimes that fear takes control. And like I said, if you're in sage, you are living out of love and positivity and creativity. You're making things happen. People can feel the energy. It feels great. If you're in saboteur, depending if it's beyond early warning, you're living out of fear, and you're taking people uh, down a path where it's very negative. They don't understand you, this and that. And sometimes what this does, it allows you to be so self-aware of how you process information, how do you be positive, and that energy just attracts people, makes people calm. And when you have a calming feeling, you're positive, people want to be around you, and you're able to influence them and build those lifetime relationships. All right, so we're going to talk about number 3, which is, working as a business owner, we're talking about referrals. And I said, do you do customer surveys, especially, if you have low hanging fruit? And like, what is that, Arnel? I said, well, every year we work with clients, right? Do you send out a survey? Do you rate your experience? I'm like, well, why would I want to do that? I said, well, look, you can ask your clients every day, every month, every year for referrals. I don't like doing that. And I tell clients, don't do that, because nobody wants to be hit up on a referral if they didn't expect it. And then typically what they do, you back them in the corner, and they may say yes, right? And then, but then they don't follow through, and they get upset with you. Or if they say yes, they may give it to you and they'd be okay. But there's very few people that I know who are okay with that. A lot of people you have to get permission. So, because the blind spot is people believe that, hey, we do a good job, you should refer me somebody. And no, not really. I remember I learned this from Dr. Ivan Misner, the founder of BNI, and the gentleman who's called the Modern Networker. He had mentioned that that there's 2 levels of credibility. There's a level of credibility for people use you, the level of credibility to people refer you. When people use you, doesn't mean you have gained the credibility for them to refer you. So one of the best ways to develop referrals, or my low hanging fruit, is you create what we call a rate your experience. So what you do is you send this out, especially if you have a new client, you let them, hey, at the end of during our service, I'm going to send it out to you so you can rate the experience. So you put, rate your experience, company name on a scale of 1 to 5. How likely you recommend. And this is all in the Net Promoter Scores. What features of value you have. And if you want to have a success story, you can put that. Do you know of a friend or colleague, professional that could benefit a trusted person? So you're asking people here, would they recommend you 1 to 5? If they say 5, that's great. If they say 1 or 2 or 3, you can go back and ask them what features, and then you can ask for a referral, right? And name trusted person. And have you noticed I only say 1 because if you ask more than 1, most people will just put a name down. If you just ask for 1, they usually will work with 1. And my belief is, when you ask this, most people will want to brainstorm with you. All right. I know one person will ask, hey, can you brainstorm? Another one, a person, I said, just name me 1. We can talk about it, the 1. And here's the interesting thing about this rate your experience. I tell people, look, if they do not respond, right? Say they fill it out, they don't have a referral, then don't bring it up. Just keep making it a process. Like each time they use you, you should send this out. That's for new clients, existing clients. Every time they use you, send it for existing clients. New clients, you want to send this out in the first experience. You'd be surprised. And here's the interesting thing. This is like a Post-it note of potential referral versus a receipt they've already given you. So what that means is you're just using this to rate how they see you, right? And if you want to get some success stories, you can get it written here. Also, it tells you what they're feeling, what they're thinking about your service, what features they like. But then the Net Promoter Score will tell you if they truly do love what you do, they typically will give you a 5. Where they struggle with is what I find out from my experience, they just don't know how to refer or introduce. There's a whole thing I can talk about. This is, if you teach people to refer, you teach people to look for a need, you teach people to look for people asking for your service or your name. If you teach people to favorably introduce, you teach them that there are people out there that need my help, but they'll never ask you for a name. They'll never ask you if they want to talk to me. I just need you to have the courage and the confidence to at least ask on uh, my behalf, because you truly believe that I can help that person. Um, because if you truly believe you can help that person, you care for that person, you are going to make a connection. And what this does, this helps you just identify a person so you can meet with them, talk them through. Because ideally, what I from my experience, there are very few people who are really good at making favorable introductions, connect you, saying the right thing to the right person, and facilitating an introduction. Most people that I've noticed will just give you a name and number and say call them, and they haven't done what I call the pre-work or the favorable introduction by asking them, "Hey, let me introduce you to so and so. This person I believe can help you. I think it could benefit you because I really just want to show I care. Are you open to the idea? Can I connect them to you?" And then lastly, just give me an update. And an interesting thing, what you find out is that if you said it that day, most people understand that you are going out of your way to connect, but most important that it shows that you care. So one of the things I recommend that, with these customer surveys is you create something like this. So every time a client uses them, you say, "Hey, thanks for engaging with us again. We're going to send this out to you. And at the end, we're going to just want to do a quick review." So you can send this out once or twice a year for existing clients or new clients, but you can create a process for this. This is how you can generate low hanging fruit. It amazes me how many business owners don't do this. I mean, if you wanted to create referrals, you can just build this into a process. So let me give you an example. So that's how you can create customer surveys, by rating your experience. And if you're interested in getting that, just let me know. Just comment below, DM me, and I'll send it to you. And then the other thing, we talk about positive intelligence, why 20% achieve their true potential and how you can achieve through Cesar Charmaine. So I'm going to go back here. Positive intelligence. He wrote a book called, let me pull it up really quickly. It's a phenomenal book. Let me pull out the book down here. He wrote a book called Positive Intelligence, which is, let's see, let's put it here. So he wrote this book called Positive Intelligence, New York Times bestseller. It's a breakthrough in tools to help combine the best of human behavior science. It's been home of coaching over 100 CEOs and executive teams over the last many years. So the amazing thing about this that I like the book is that I read the book and I've been using the tool to help me improve my mindset, and my mindset's gotten better. And so you can go to Amazon and get it here. It's for like $14.95 for a hardcover book. If you can get it, you can also get it audio. Now, the beauty of this book that I really like about it, it talks about, again, positive versus negative mindset and give you practical tools. The unique thing about the book, it just helps you understand that mindset is all about a choice, not a reaction. And so when you read the book, he has a program that helps you, like 7 weeks of orientation, and then go into depth, because the program helps you create a tool that you use to improve your mindset. Now, when I talk about this, is that, people say, "Well, what's this good for?" If you got monkey brain, like you don't know what to focus on, or you're vegging out in your head, you're just like, things are running so fast that you just have to veg out by watching TV, or you're an entrepreneur who just like social eater, or you got to go drinking, just to just get your mind to calm, then this is something you want to do. I recognize this because, for me, it was all about mindset. It wasn't about, I understand growth and fixed mindset. I understand the miracle morning, but most stress that I find out occur between 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, where that's when all the stress comes out, because everything that could go wrong comes at you wrong, and it's hard to process. So the whole idea is, with this positive mindset, negative mindset with positive intelligence, you really get to figure out become self-aware of what's preventing you from receiving positive information? How do you accept? How do you convert to a given opportunity? And how do you respond quicker versus react negatively? And how do you respond positively? And that is how I think you'll get ahead a lot faster and quicker around the mindset. And so the interesting thing about this is it's a tool, not just a book. It's not just a program. It's a tool that you can use. A lot of times we're looking for tools, not just great information. So this is the quote, which is really interesting. Most feelings of stress, anxiety, frustration, disappointment, regret, and guilt are direct results of judging yourself, others, situation, or outcome. Shazad Charmaine. And this is true. We create our own negative mindset because we judge others, our situation, and then we can't process it out in a way that can help us determine, can we convert it to a gift and opportunity, or just accept the reality and not let your mind take you over and become negative. I mean, I know a lot of people out there that are just living in survival brain, and I can just tell by how they respond, react, how they're not growing. I mean, a lot of times you find out sometimes you don't even know that you are really just living day by day, nothing more, nothing less. It's not like a status quo because you accepted that your mindset is okay, but your mindset's not being challenged about growing. Because if you're going to grow, there's always going to be challenges. Is how do you process those challenges, stay positive, and keep moving forward to accomplish your goals and be the person you want to be. So lastly, look, I know I went over a little bit later. I just got very passionate about talking about this stuff because I enjoy it. Again, my call to action is if you need any help with business, please let me know by commenting below or sending me a DM and see if I can help you. And if you want a copy of that Rate Your Experience, please let me know. I'll send you a copy. I mean, I am going to be using that to my existing clients this year and just get an idea what can I improve on. And, maybe I'll get a referral too. Sometimes I will, sometimes I don't, but that's okay. So again, I want to thank you for listening and watching this episode of the vlog of Dear Arnel. And we appreciate forward to the next that we share. Most likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this on Mondays at 11 just because it's hard to get it on Fridays. So I think I'm going to do my episodes on the weekend and then just send it out on Mondays 11. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. All right. Have a great day. Bye.